Hi, this is Dale Winslow. We're making a habit of this recording early in the week, aren't we? Glad you could join us. Um, it's just fun seeing all the activity around here. I referred in Sunday in the live stream to the students, international students, and the food distribution going on. It seems like every time I dial into a Zoom or show up on campus for one thing or another, there's good stuff happening. Rest assured, we're staying 6 feet apart, but there's really good stuff happening all the time. In the last couple of sermons, I've referenced a couple of books, The Rise of Christianity, Rodney Stark, and today I referenced a book by Craig Barnes. Both of these are books that I would highly recommend, and especially the Barnes book if you're going to be in any kind of ministry, Bible studies, teaching, Scripture. Barnes has done some stuff in his book that for Karen and me is just right at the top. I routinely clean out my library. There are books like this that don't go away. They stay. So I want to recommend those books to you. We're talking about how we're going to be doing church in the future, and in live streaming our morning worship, you're going to continue to see things happening from homes like last week, Yvette Valenzuela read Scripture from home. We're going to continue to do those kinds of things. And as I said in some of our other comments, there's going to be different people preaching and different people celebrating the Eucharist and leading worship as well. So be ready for that. As we're talking in staff about going forward, it looks like it's going to be not sooner, but later. And so one of the phases that is being talked about is how would we do church in groups of 10? And then the next phase, how would we do church in groups of 50? So one of the things we're kicking around in staff is asking the question, who is your 10? If we can enter, when we enter into this next phase, what group of 10 would you say, hey, let's gather at our house or in our backyard? And then when that phase is over and we can go into 50s, 5 groups of 10, where could we gather and who would those groups be? So you're going to be hearing more about who's your 10. As we think long term. One of the other things we're bumping up against is what about children? You know, if we have a guideline that you have to stay 6 feet apart, can you imagine kids being told, okay, go out on the playground or meet in so-and-so's backyard, but you have to stay 6 feet apart? Not going to happen, right? So how Stephanie and our team are looking at ways, how do we do children's ministry with some of these guidelines. I know my grandkids, if they met the Lashana kids, they would not be staying 6 feet apart, or the Saul and Kristen's 2 boys. They'd be hugging and fighting and all kinds of stuff be going on. Jeffrey, I can imagine Jeffrey staying 6 feet apart from everybody. So we're having those kinds of dynamic discussions. Good time. Yolanda Castro, her story was live yesterday at 4:30. Live streamed. It's also recorded if you'd like to dial in our website and hear Yolanda's story. Maybe you didn't have time to hear the whole thing yesterday in the live stream and want to keep it. Maybe you want to use it to share with others. A rich story that she has when she was out of it for the days at the Huntington Hospital being treated for COVID. So we're celebrating her life, and I just want to underscore that recording. That's gospel, what happened to her. I want to keep that in front of you. And then finally, would you be praying for our students? Would you take some time maybe this week and think about high school students, college students, seminary students, family that you know? It's usually a high time to celebrate, isn't it? Coming together. And I remember when I graduated from seminary, my grandpa, who had an 8th grade education, got out of the car in our parking lot. He'd driven all day. Got out of the car and he danced a little jig. And I asked my uncle, has he been drinking? He didn't drink. Has he been drinking? My uncle said, no, he's just happy. I was 3rd generation. He had been a pastor my dad had. I was the first one that had gone to seminary. So I know how important graduations are. So would you just take some time? Lord, who needs to hear from me? Who needs to get a card from me? Who needs to know that, yeah, I'm thinking about you and remembering your graduation? Keep that in mind. And if you need some help, man, let us know. Pastor Yvette is right on top of this, and we're wanting to make sure that our grads are blessed. So any of you grads that are listening, any of you students that are listening, hear this. We bless you and pray for you, and we miss you. And we hope that this season you find God coming in through the cracks and blessing you. That's it for today. God be with you as we continue in this COVID-19 season. Keep your masks handy, your Purell handy. God be with you.